Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your Guide to CMI Mentoring webinar. My name is Katie Dawson, and I'm the Member Experience Manager here at CMI. Before we start, I'd like to just remind anyone watching who is an existing CMI member that you can access our mentoring platform by logging onto our website to take advantage of everything you'll hear about today. If you're not yet a member, you can join using the link in the chat to start accessing our mentoring services. I'll be shortly handing over to Chris Murray, who works for Perform, Learn and Develop Limited, and they also happen to be the host of the CMI Mentoring platform. Chris is going to talk you through the benefits of mentoring, how you can engage with the CMI Mentoring program. I'll then be talking to CMI member Professor David Fusky about being a mentor, and finally our last guest is CMI member Paul Mullins, who had a successful mentoring relationship with David towards the end of last year. If you have any questions during the webinar, you can ask them using the live chat box on the right of your screen, and we'll aim to answer as many as we can. Today's session is being recorded and we will share it with you later today. Now I'd like to introduce you to Chris Murray, who's going to kick off today's session. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Katie. Hi, everyone. As Katie mentioned, my name's Chris Murray. I'm a director and co-founder of PLD Limited, who supply and support CMI with the CMI mentoring platform. So next slide, please. So what is the CMI mentoring platform? Well, the good news is it is a member benefit. It's a CMI member benefit that's available to all CMI members. As a CMI member, you can join the platform and get the benefits as a mentee or a mentor, or both roles if you choose to. You'll find there are plenty of resources to support you in your mentoring, and plenty of information on mentoring, both on the CMI website and also on the mentoring platform itself. As a mentee, you can search the platform for an experienced CMI mentor who will be able to help you with career background, career information, career choices, specific areas of expertise, and also areas of skill transfer. So next slide, please. Currently, there are over 1,000 CMI mentors on the platform, supporting mentees in over 1,000 live relationships. There are 22 different industry sectors represented by mentors, and plenty of job roles, job positions that are also covered on the platform, as well as there have over 700 mentors have also volunteered to support CMI student affiliates with employability, mentoring, career advice and career support. So next slide, please. So the benefits of mentoring. I mean, mentoring is an absolutely amazing support tool to help you as a mentee develop the skills you need to progress your career. Mentoring has got great benefits for not only the mentee, but the mentor, and also the organisation you work for. There's been countless studies that have supported the benefits of mentoring, whether that be in terms of increased confidence, improved mental health, increased likelihood for promotion in your career. As a mentee, your mentor will help you in terms of giving you career oversight, different career perspectives, how to get the best out of your career, and also the various types of routes that are available to you to achieve success in your career. Your mentee will normally be somebody who is outside your normal work environment, so they'll be able to give you an independent perspective in terms of your career development. They'll also help you in terms of developing new skills, new capabilities within your career. You've got the opportunity to work with your mentor to help overcome any specific situational challenges that you might be facing. And mentoring is also great in terms of expanding your network. and that's both in terms of connecting with relevant mentors on the CMI platform, but also the prospects of your mentor helping you expand your network through connections they may be able to introduce you to. So if we could go to the next slide, please. And there are also plenty of benefits for the mentor. I mean, that starts with the ability to give something back and support your CMI colleagues, develop their careers, see them achieving success based on the experience and advice that you have built up in your career and that you're able to impart to them. As a mentor, you're also able to increase your coaching and mentoring experience through the mentoring relationships you will connect with on the platform. And again, there's the opportunity for you as a mentor to learn from the program. Certainly from a personal perspective, the mentoring engagements I've had, I've always come away when I've been supporting the mentee, having learned something from that relationship and having learned something from my mentee. So next slide, please. So the platform itself, how do you get access? As Katie said, it's very simple. If you go to the CMI website and you log into the website, you'll find a link that will take you directly onto the mentoring program. If we could have the next slide, please. And then once on the mentoring platform, you'll enter first of all, you'll enter an onboarding area. Now, the onboarding area will basically, it has a number of resources that start to introduce you to, firstly, what to expect from the mentoring program, how to get the most benefit out of it. It will explain how to use the software, and that is in a combination of videos supporting PDFs. Once you feel comfortable and you feel orientated onto the program, you'll then create a profile. Now, the profile serves two purposes. So what you're doing on the profile is, first, you're making choices, giving a bit of background in terms of yourself, what you're looking to achieve from the mentoring relationship. And then you're also making choices around the types of advice you're interested in, the types of support you're interested in, the expertise you're looking to develop, or the skills you're looking to transfer. Now, it's worth spending a little bit of time on that as a mentee, because in doing so, the second purpose of the profile is that when you send your mentoring request, your mentor will basically be provided with a little bit of background on yourself, and they can then make some judgment calls around how they can best support you. Once you're happy and you save that profile, the platform will bring back the most suitable mentors for you on the platform based on your profile choices. Now, you can filter those, so there's plenty of ways to use the advanced search, to look at maybe people by region, by specific skill sets, whatever that might be, and then you can start to peruse those results, go through mentor profiles. Once you've found a mentor that you think would be able to help you, you can ask questions before you send a request, so you can just make sure that the fit is right. And then when you send your request, that will be reviewed by your mentor. Your mentor will, once they've accepted your request, if we could just click on that slide again, please. The platform will open up another series of resources that are designed to help you in terms of preparing for your first meeting, how to build effective mentoring relationships, how to get the best out of mentoring, specific skill sets, like how to questioning skills, giving feedback. So there's plenty of resources to support you at various stages of the user journey. You can communicate with your mentor through the platform. You can arrange your meetings. You can contact the platform administrator if you need to. So you can keep, once you're in the relationship, you can keep coming back to the platform You can take your meeting notes, continue to use the resources, and then should you face another either career challenge or you're interested in learning a new skill, following one mentoring relationship, you can go back on and find and connect with another mentor. Okay, so if we could have the next slide. So I thought I'd just finish with what I see as some hopefully valuable mentoring tips in terms of getting the best out of mentoring for both the mentee and the mentor. The first one is around building relationships. In mentoring, it's really, really important to develop trust and rapport between mentor and mentee. So what I'd say is once you've connected, the mentor and mentee have connected on the platform, that first meeting, so try and make it a little bit more informal, so you've got a chance to understand each other's backgrounds a little bit. The mentor can start to understand what the mentor is looking to achieve from the mentoring relationship, so that you're both then able to continue that your mentoring sessions, knowing what at the end success should look like. Listening, so listening skills, listening carefully. This may seem very obvious, but it's important for both the mentee. So, but from a mentor perspective, to be listening to your mentee. So trying to make sure that you really understand the challenge they're facing and the challenge that they're trying to overcome, that you can start to think about where your own experience and your own advice will be helpful to the mentee, as well as understanding how you can best help the mentee to help themselves in achieving the goals they have for mentoring relationship. Again, questioning. So the mentor should feel comfortable in asking searching questions of the mentee, so that the mentee can basically get true reflective insight on the challenges they face, and what they're looking to achieve from the relationship. From a mentee perspective, you should also feel comfortable questioning your mentor to make sure that you've got clarity in terms of next steps, actions, how you're going to prepare for meetings. In terms of feedback, at a stage of the relationship, the mentor will start to give feedback. That feedback should be constructive, it should be positive. We always tend to sometimes concentrate on the person we're supporting's development needs, but it is also important to make sure that your underlying strengths you've seen as the mentoring relationship has developed, the strengths you've seen in your mentee. Being prepared to act on the advice you're given. So a key concept on the platform and the CMI mentoring program is that your mentor is there to support you, but they've given up time and energy in helping you in your career. So it's really important as a mentee that you are prepared to act on the information you have been given and the advice you've been given. Practically, that may mean putting some time aside in your schedule to complete tasks or actions you've agreed in your previous meeting with your mentor, so that you're ready for the next meeting to go through what you've done and what you've achieved as a result. And then finally, there will come a point in the mentoring relationship where the goals have either been achieved or you both feel that you've got as far as you can. At that point, you need to close the relationship down. So close it properly, reflect in terms of the time you spent together, what has been achieved, the successes that you have had. You can close the relationship down in the software as well and feed back to CMI, so that they're aware of how that mentoring episode went. All right, so I hope you found that useful. I will now pass back to Katie.
Brilliant, thank you, Chris. That was really insightful. And just remember, if you've got any questions for Chris, please feel free to pop them into the chat, and we'll cover as many as we can at the end of the session. So we have invited our next guests along today as they have had a successful mentoring relationship that was built up through the CMI platform as part of their membership. So we've got Professor David Fusky, a lecturer at Coventry University, and Paul Mullins, a police constable working for the British Transport Police. Paul sought a mentor after leaving the Royal Marines in 2016 in order to help him adjust to working as a manager in a civilian setting. So firstly, I'm going to be speaking to David to really understand his experience of mentoring. And so welcome, David. It's lovely to have you with us today.
Thank you very much. And hello, everybody.
So firstly, I'd really like to just know a little bit more about what first inspired you to become a mentor.
Well, by profession, I'm a project manager. And one of the key aspects of project management is team building. And you might get a team with very experienced people as well as freshmen. So you need sometimes to coach, you need sometimes to mentor, you need sometimes to learn. So the platform was giving me an opportunity on the one end to develop my skills, because there are things you don't know, you need to learn, and on the other side would help me improve my work in terms of project manager as well as, if you want, teaching, because also the students are part of a team. In project management, I can only teach my student on what we do as a professional. So I need to apply the same approach, and that's what has been pushing me to try to get the training as a mentor and hopefully help more people and give back to the organization for what I get from the organization itself.
Brilliant, thank you. And like, what's your normal approach when first developing a mentoring relationship? How do you tend to learn about the mentee to be able to adapt your own approach to the relationship?
Okay, so it's one of the things that I had to learn, because tendentially I talk too much and I listen too much. So with Paul, and that's the reason for which I'm so happy to have Paul here, is that we started by sharing a little bit of our background, and we found some common ground, and so we started sharing on that basis. I was trying to relate his needs on my experience on the common ground, and then trying to provide him my understanding of how I had to handle the same kind of a problem. So it was a kind of set a common page, and then write together the story, starting from you tell me what you need and what you find difficult, and I tell you what I used, what worked for me, and then we try to see if that works or not, and then we take it from there.
Okay, that's really interesting. So do you feel like mentoring, like being a mentor, has helped you develop in your own career? And what, like, is there anything that you've specifically learned from the mentoring relationship that you're able to now apply into your current role as a professor?
So I would say yes, definitely, because as Chris said, it's not a one-way only thing. I have learned from the mentees a lot. And the point is that Chris mentioned that the mentee needs to be open to the advice from the mentor. But I have to say that as a mentor, I need to be open to the feedback from the mentee. Mm-hmm. So if the mentee shows me that something is not working, then I need to adjust myself and try to do the thing better. So that is something that I was not used to. As I said, being a manager, sometimes you, and a former officer, sometimes you tend to be a little bit too directive and not so much democratic and listening. And having to have a different kind of a relation, which is, if you want, close to a friendship relation, but is on a professional ground, that forces you to try to rethink your approach and try to be possibly a better you. That's what I would say.
Brilliant. So when first starting out as a mentor, do you have any advice that you would give to others like looking to do the same, and how can they can take those first steps into becoming a mentor themselves?
Well, there are two things that I personally like a lot. On the platform, there is a lot of material that you could use that guides you through. Not only forums, but also short micro-peel courses that you could look at and open up your mind. And the second thing is related to we might have experience, we might have seen a lot of things, but for sure we don't know everything. So, and every person is different. Every person is unique. We are all the same, but we are unique at the same time. So it's giving room for the doubt. Could it be that what the mentee is saying is better than what I think? Could it be that I have something that I can not only take back, but make use of what is the dialogue that we are having through? These are the things that probably I would suggest to keep not at the back of your mind, at the forefront of your mind as a mentor, because otherwise there's the risk to be self-complacent and a little bit overproud, saying, "Oh, I'm the one that can tell you how to do it," and maybe it's not the case.
And so do you have any advice that you can pass on to members who are potentially looking for a mentor, because they may be slightly nervous about that, and it's just kind of encouraging them to go ahead with it?
It's definitely a valuable expertise. So I would encourage members that have some, I wouldn't say spare time, that have the desire to invest some time in doing something which is beneficial for the community and for themselves, to really engage into it, because it's really worth.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I think that will really help to inspire a lot of people to become more actively engaged with mentoring. So thank you, David. Our next guest obviously is Paul Mullins. Paul is also a chartered manager with CMI, and he's going to share his experiences of developing that mentoring relationship and how that helped him to adjust to change in the civilian life. So welcome, Paul. Thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us if this was the first time you sought a mentor, and were you quite nervous about it initially? How did David put you at ease?
So hi everyone, how you all doing? Yeah, the CMI was the first platform that after becoming a chartered manager, obviously you're given a lot of literature as to how you can get mentoring. So I thought I'd check it out. I went online, filled out all the information, and then I was approached by David. I approached David, and then David suggested to meet up face to face so we could just have a chat. So we literally did that, and as David said, we basically found some common ground. So obviously, I'd just come out of the military, and David has had military experience as well. So as you can imagine, we had a bit of conversation around that, and that's pretty much how David put me at ease in explaining what I can expect as a mentee from him, and sort of he was just trying to generally find out what was going on in my life, in my career, because I was working as a transport management consultant, and obviously that environment is very different to the military. So I just wanted to see from a civilian perspective what I might be lacking in skills, and David was very good at being able to sort of do a SWOT analysis on me and find out how to help me and encourage me to go forward.
Oh, brilliant. So how do you feel like the mentoring process helped you to develop in your career, and how have you applied these skills as a manager?
So one thing I hear quite a lot with the CMI is that it's like formal mentoring, but my personal experience was that I didn't feel that it was formal mentoring, because once I'd created the relationship with David, he was always on the end of a phone, email, and any questions I had, we'd arrange regular meetings to have a chat and a conversation. So I didn't really feel like it was formal mentoring, but what I gained out of it was a different perspective. David was very good in giving me like a little reading list of different books that in his life has helped him and has also helped me as well. And I think one of the biggest things I got from mentoring was definitely becoming a better manager in the way of how to open my mind to deal with different people, and especially with as people say, with the office politics, in terms of how as a manager I deal with the board of directors, for example, because I've never had that experience in the military, and David was very helpful in getting me to be able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. That really makes sense. Do you feel like there's any lessons that you learned from the relationship that you probably never would have done, like having not done that?
Yeah, I think if I didn't become a chartered manager, I would never have found out about the mentoring program, because I wasn't in the network. I mean, as I say, as a transport consultant, I was sort of on my own, working for various different companies. And as I say, when the CMI popped up and I went through the process, as I say, if I hadn't have done that, then I would never have met David, and I would never have learned how to communicate effectively with directors, because sometimes they can be a strange bunch. And I definitely wouldn't be able to understand how I can act as a conduit between the board of directors and people that I'm responsible for, and trying to, create that relationship with everybody. And that's pretty much what I feel that I got out of that.
Brilliant. Yeah, definitely. And so would you consider being a mentee again in the future, or would you even consider being a mentor going forward?
I think in terms of being a mentee again, I don't think that that's something that I will do, because I don't think I'll find anyone as good as David on there again. And as I say, creating that relationship with David, I think he's always going to be my go-to person now, because we did create a really good friendship from that. But I think going forwards for me with the CMI, I would definitely consider becoming a mentor now, having been through the process myself, and with my management experience, I feel that I do have a lot to offer a potential mentee.
Definitely, that's really, really interesting. And I guess last kind of question is, do you have any advice for other mentees looking for a mentor, as having gone through the process yourself?
Yeah, I think as Chris alluded to in his presentation, is for me, my personal experience is that I just filled out all the information as best I could. I wasn't really sure what I wanted from a mentor. I just tried to do like a self-analysis of myself, to say, right, what do I don't understand, and what am I sort of not doing very well in my job, which, as I say, was like, the communication thing. So I filled out all the information properly, found David, but then my advice would be, don't overthink the mentoring. As I say, people sort of say it's like formal mentoring, but if you find the right mentor for you, it doesn't feel like that at all. It's just literally just a friend that you can go to for support, who's out of your sort of immediate working circles, that you can have a bit of a rant about your boss at. So it's fantastic.
That's really good. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Paul. I think that will really hopefully encourage a lot of mentees to maybe take that next step in progressing with their mentoring relationship. So now, thanks to you all. Thanks for that insight. But we're going to be moving on to our Q&A now. I can see we've had a lot of questions submitted, so I'm just going to go through a few of them now. So the first one is, I am a CMI member and applied for a mentor on the CMI framework. After sending my request to one of the mentors listed there, the person rejected my application. Should I keep applying to more people there until I find a mentor, or is there a matching service whereby CMI could help me find someone suitable for the framework? So I think, Chris, are you okay to answer this one?
Sure. I mean, my recommendation would be, absolutely keep applying. Like I say, there's a lot of mentors on the CMI platform, well over 1,000. I would suggest, stepping back a bit, so maybe as Paul also mentioned, just spending that bit of time up front in terms of your profile, making sure that's properly completed, that you've got some really good background, and you've detailed what you're looking to achieve, so that the mentor really does know how they can support you, and then use the filters, so you can apply to people, as I say, in different sectors, different regions. You can put in more than one application. There's nothing to stop you doing that, and you should be able to find somebody who can help you.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, the next question is, as someone new to formal mentoring, how do you get over the first start line when you don't know what you want to achieve as a mentor? Would you advise being a mentee before becoming a mentor? I think, David, are you okay to answer that one?
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much to say what about being a mentee before. What to expect from mentoring is, as I said before, is not being the boss that tells the other what they have to do and what they have to be. So it's a little bit of stepping back and being a little bit more humble, knowing that you've got some experience, but trying to find a way to share your experience and your knowledge in a way that could be useful to the other. So kind of, okay, this is what I have to offer you. Do you think this is what you need? And if not, what else would you need? So it's start breaking the ice, trying to understand what are the motivation of the mentee and how you can support. I think that when a mentee chooses you is because there is something in your profile that shows the mentee that maybe you can be of help. And that is what you need to try to understand. If you understand that, then it's easy to open up the doors to what has to follow. But there's nothing to be scared. It might not work, right? But the point is that if you don't try, you can't achieve anything. There is always something new. And if you try, it's not going to hurt you, provided that you don't over expect. That's what I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Okay, next question is, how did you communicate throughout your mentoring relationship? Was this done completely through the platform? I think you kind of touched on that earlier, but David, would you like to kind of explain a little bit more about about how you and Paul did this?
I use the platform for two things: setting the first touch, so exchanging a first message, and offering the possibility to have a first meeting, and then the recording of the activities as per CMI modules. And then when there is the need, especially in the beginning, a kind of reminder, we agreed to see each other or to talk to each other. Otherwise, what I use is, as Paul mentioned, phone, emails, and okay, now in lockdown it's difficult, but possibly face to face, because it lowers certain barriers and it makes it easier for understanding certain aspects. The nonverbal communication is important. So, okay, having the camera is already something good, but if you can't have that, the emails and the phone are the only two things available. But the way I would use the platform is kickstart and keep track, mostly.
Brilliant, thank you. And Chris, I think this one's for you. So in what way can I improve my networking being part of CMI Mentoring?
Well, I mean, hopefully Paul and David have given good examples of how you can improve your network. You know, you're connecting to somebody outside your normal sphere who can give you, you know, Paul and David's examples, some great insights. And once that mentoring has come to an end, that your mentor, your mentee, they're still in your network. They continue to be in your network. You, as Paul said, David now becomes his go-to person. You can, as I mentioned, once you have had support with one challenge, with another arrives, you can connect with another mentor. And that's another addition to your network. And there's also, it's not always the case, but depending on how your mentor is supporting you, they may be prepared to open some of their network up to you as well. So lots of ways to increase your network through using the platform.
Brilliant, thank you. And Chris, again, I think this one's for you. So how do we go about reverse mentoring?
Okay, so yeah, reverse mentoring is something that's you know, proving to be more and more popular across the mentoring platforms, and certainly, you know, as time goes on, we will be adding more resources to the platforms around reverse mentoring. typically, reverse mentoring is seen as a slight role reversal, where the let's call them the person you would normally expect to be the mentee in terms of experience takes on the role of mentor and is supporting their mentee with things like digital, new technologies, new ways of working. If you wanted to go and try and form a mentoring relationship now on the CMI platform in terms of reverse mentoring, then what I'd advise is you really, again, think of the areas you're looking for in terms of support, whether that is in new technology, new ways of working, and identify people on the platform through the filters. Over time, that'll be made easier for you as we change categories, that type of stuff. But absolutely, you could go and try and look for those people on the platform.
Brilliant. Thank you. David, I think we've got one for you. So how would you define a successful mentor in one word?
One word. Humble.
That's a good one.
I cannot assume to be better than anybody. I need to take into account that I am what I am. It's my past that makes me what I am, and that's what I can share. But my future depends on the people I meet and the things I do. So if I have the chance to meet with people that will enrich me, then that, if you want, is my reading of the reverse mentoring. I get mentored myself. So why not? But if I think I'm the best, then that openness is not there, and I will not be ready to learn what I can learn from my counterpart.
Yeah, thank you. And final question. So probably Chris might be best to answer this one. Can you be both a mentor and a mentee? I think David's kind of just touched on that, but yeah, you could explain how that works with the platform.
Yeah, so you can be both roles on the platform. You can be a mentee and a mentor. You can either create both roles as you enter the platform, so when you register for the first time, or let's say in Paul's example, he's been a mentee, and he can go into his account and then also identify that he wants to be a mentor, and he'll have the same account basically. Why would you maybe want to be a mentee and a mentor? Well, absolutely. People as a mentee, as a mentor, you may feel that there's areas that you can support a mentee in, areas of expertise you've developed yourself. But I think, as David said, we all continue to learn. And it's not all about skill transfer, but we may all at certain points in our career, even later on in our career, hit challenges where we can get the support and advice of somebody else with a completely different perspective. But yes, the short answer is you can be both roles on the platform.
Brilliant, thank you. Well, that's it for today's session, everyone. And thank you for everyone that's joined us today and participated. Thanks to Chris, David and Paul for sharing your knowledge and experience with us. If you're not already a member of CMI, then you can join our community for access to the CMI mentoring platform using the link in the chat. And if you are a member of CMI, then you can access the mentoring platform by logging in, as mentioned earlier. So I hope you all have a lovely day, and thank you again for watching.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you. Goodbye.